Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to address the Webit Impact Forum today on the topic of sustainable finance for building a resilient and innovative future, and to bring a UN perspective to your discussions. In 2015, the 193 UN member states adopted the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, which serves as the blueprint for all UN efforts to promote a sustainable future. Achieving this ambitious agenda requires considerable investments, and we need to ensure that these investments come from sustainable resources and promote sustainable outcomes. The same year, member states also adopted the Addis Ababa Action Agenda at the Third International Conference on Financing for Development. It establishes a strong foundation to support the implementation of the 2030 Agenda and provides a global framework for financing sustainable development by aligning all financing flows and policies with economic, social, and environmental priorities. It includes a comprehensive set of policy actions with over 100 concrete measures that draw upon all sources of finance, technology, innovation, trade, debt, and data. I invite all stakeholders to hold these two guiding documents in mind as they work to ensure a resilient, sustainable, and innovative future. Sustainability considerations must be mainstreamed into all financing efforts. As we all know, the war in Ukraine has not only devastating impacts on human life, but also global implications through the impact on food, energy, and financial conditions. The loss of life, the destruction, the suffering must end, and the healing must start now. Peace must be restored. There cannot be sustainable development without peace, and peace will not be assured without sustainable development. I sincerely hope that diplomatic negotiations will very soon put an end to this conflict. As we see in the UN, the armed conflict has also impacted multilateral cooperation to the detriment of all. This situation has only further complicated our post-COVID-19 predicament. Efforts should be made to reconcile initiatives to enhance resilience with the preservation of the benefits of international cooperation. And an environment of lower growth, higher inflation, raising financing costs, and increased demands on public resources has emerged. The recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic has been derailed. In this context, protecting the most vulnerable and shaping effective policies that make the best use of the resources available is paramount. Let me highlight some opportunities in sustainable finance and how UN organizations such as UNECE can support them. The growing interest in sustainable finance opens new opportunities for countries to broaden investors' bases and access new resources. Sustainable finance instruments which allocate resources to some goals or aim to achieve particular targets on environmental or other sustainable development issues are underpinned by mechanisms for project selection, verification of use of the proceeds, and or assessing performance. Embedding UN normative frameworks in these mechanisms would facilitate advancing sustainable finance and enhance its impact, as it would align them with international agreed best practice and enhance credibility and, importantly, investor confidence. However, despite the recent enthusiasm regarding sustainable bonds, it needs to be stressed that these bonds add to the overall debt burden. So the usual caveats regarding debt sustainability should apply. We are entering an environment of growing interest rates that will increase financing costs and exacerbate the fragility of external debt positions in some countries. Initiatives to reduce debt burdens in these countries should include broader considerations regarding climate finance provisions. Debt for environment swaps and payments for ecosystem services, for example, forests, can both raise resources and incentives for environmental preservation. UN normative frameworks can again play a role on structuring these initiatives. Combating illicit financial flows can be facilitated by exploiting the control and verification opportunities offered by paperless trade, including through the use of agreed mechanisms for the interoperability of standards. UNECE is strongly involved in this area as part of its activities on trade facilitation. Creating appropriate conditions for attracting private finance for SDG implementation remains essential. In particular, infrastructure investment will be the driver for transformational change, but it is also critical that this private investment is well aligned with SDG needs. Two important considerations can be made in this regard. First, engaging private finance also demands public resources to reduce risks or to make complementary investments with low or no private returns. Concessional international public finance remains critical. And second, UN endorsed principles and guidelines like the UNECE public-private partnerships for the Sustainable Development Goals can help to facilitate the alignment in a visible way. We have also created a PPP evaluation methodology that helps countries measure their PPP and infrastructure projects against the 3 pillars of sustainability. Tools like these are essential to mobilize additional private sector financial resources that are geared towards sustainable development, such as blended finance or impact investing. Another important tool for governments is public procurement, which can be used to enhance innovation, digitalization, and green transformations. Innovation is central to the shift towards more sustainable production and consumption post-COVID-19 and the transition to a circular economy. New technologies, product design, digital platforms, and innovative business models are the enablers for a circular economy. The 2030 Agenda recognizes a strong link between innovation, sustainable development, and public procurement. In fact, one of the targets under the Sustainable Development Goal on responsible consumption and production focuses specifically on promoting public procurement practices that are sustainable in accordance with national policies and priorities. Public procurement is an important part of economic activity, on average accounting for 10 to 15% of GDP in most countries. UNECE has published several documents on how innovation-enhancing procurement can steer innovation into directions that help attain broad economic, social, and environmental objectives, including the transition to the circular economy and to build back better after the COVID-19 pandemic. And we work to support governments in implementing relevant policy recommendations. I hope I have been able to provide some insights from a UN perspective on how we can achieve our sustainable financing goals. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish you fruitful discussions. Thank you.